Sandy, in the first half, you didn't necessarily get the number of attempts or makes from three that maybe you've gotten the first couple of games, but what maybe changed offensively and defensively in the second half that allowed you to outscore them by 22 in the final 20 minutes?
Well, I thought we were sleeping in the first half, to be quite honest. So I told them at half-time, and we were way better teams than what we're playing, and we weren't being aggressive, so we just got a little bit more aggressive, and that's just a mindset. You know, how we coming out. I think we're just playing with them, and their physicality was taking us out of what we wanted to do. We were keeping the ball on one side. We weren't playing what we had worked on all through the week. So the beauty of a veteran team, experienced team, we can make adjustments, and they can, you know, obviously do what we're telling them to do, and we had way better execution. But it started with our defense. We carried more energy, more easy baskets, more open looks. We had a lot of great, players contributing tonight, and Stewie, got going. We exploited what they wanted to do against her, and I thought Sluty was great. But KT, she was really physical on defense. That certainly helped us.
Speaking of KT, hi Sandy. She was a plus 19 this afternoon. I'm just curious how you thought, she played a role in this victory.
Oh, it was a big role. And I spoke to her in the tunnel way back to the locker room, and I just said just how important she is to our success. She may not take one shot, but she's still going to be so important because of what she brings. She's not a high usage player, but she's fine with that. But you can always rely on her for effort and energy and, just making the right reads. She wants to win. She's a winner, so we're lucky to have her on our team.
And also, I noticed in the second half that you switched the defensive assignments. You put Sabrina on Tip Hayes, and then you had Laney on DeWanna Bonner. How do you think that sort of improved your team's fate in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, Sub wasn't supposed to be on DB. There was only one possession. She posted her up. We quickly took her off that. We should have bought a trap anyway. She was supposed to be on Heidelman, but in Trans D, anyone can guard anyone. But I thought B really came out in the second half too and created the energy that we needed. And just do a little bit what they do, just smothering and more aggressive and more physical. I thought we were able to do that. And we were helping each other. We had no sense of urgency. We wanted to protect the paint and, obviously all game. But we didn't contest the threes, and they were making them. So the adjustment is like we still got to make sure that we're playing defense and having urgency on closeouts and then everyone jumping to the ball. But, it was just, DB's a big player. If we can keep big on her, that was pretty good. And B and KT were the best matchups.
Hi, Sandy.
Hey.
What does it say about Niara's process that she was able to come in against such a strong front court and be immediately effective?
I think I told you guys she's pretty impressive. I'm pretty sure I said that. Look, you see the potential in training camp, a player that hadn't played at this level for so long. You just saw the potential, and it's like, whoa, she's really quick. She's very explosive. She has good poise, too. Obviously she's a little older being an international player. But I was really happy. I think she gave us really key minutes there. Remember at the end of a quarter, and she stayed and plays and with Tiffany Hayes, I believe, and she stayed right there. If you just rewatch it, the speed that she has. So Naira's going to be a player that gets better and better. She hasn't played a lot of basketball, and so really excited how we can keep developing her.
Hey, Coach. Pre-game, you talked about Connecticut's toughness. It seemed like today's offense, a little slower pace. What did you see out of the half-court offense today, and what worked for you guys?
Not very good in the first half, better in the second half, but still not as good as we wanted. And you saw, I think you saw near it in the end, in basketball, you have your sets, but really it's about how to play to each other and motion. And then you saw it near the end. We had Stewie just moving around, playing and pinching it, setting a screen, and we got wide open looks by the movement. In the first half, we just tried to do too much on one side, and we didn't move the ball well enough. And, when we had more discipline of doing that, I think that makes it really hard to guard. And, these two players obviously make it a little easier there. But, I thought Sluty going downhill, that really got us going. She got some easy baskets just in a high pick and roll. And, we exploited, obviously, how they're trying to play Stewie better in the second half. But, it's not just because of coaching. It's because of Stewie.
And earlier pregame, Sabrina talked about trying to come out and punch the other team in the face. You guys did that, hitting flurry threes in the third quarter. Did you feel like that was a difference in the game?
Yeah, we didn't punch them in the face in the first half. They punched us in the face. But look, it's a game. It's 40 minutes, and it's how can you make adjustments and can you change. And these credit to these players here. I mean, they made adjustments. We knew we weren't playing as well as we could. We were getting too stagnant. And we just, like I said, we have to trust the process. And these games are critical for our learning. You need time to play with each other and understand. And, obviously it's a different team than Indiana. This is Connecticut, and, every team's going to be different as how that we can continue to play to our identity but be quick learners if someone is exploiting us in certain areas.
Hi, Sandy. I'm just curious if you could speak to how you've seen Courtney continue to just learn the offense and get comfortable, obviously finishing with 10 assists today. What have you seen from her just either throughout the game today or even in the course she's going to incorporate into the fold?
Yeah, look, she's obviously one of the smartest guards of the history of the game. So, and it was, it's unfortunate she was out for training camp, but the way that she can just pick things up really quickly and get a feel for the game. And we want her, like I said, it's a luxury as a coach. You just want her to play and just give her a few ideas here and there, and she can lead it from there. But yeah, no, I think she had a great game. You see, she's more comfortable with what we're doing, and that just takes time. And just that last week of practice just helped her, just elevate her. I know understanding of what we want to do as a team, but also understanding her teammates as well.
Hi, Stewie. Oh, yeah, that's working. Kayla Thornton was a plus 19 tonight. I mention her name and you smile right away. I'm just curious, how you would sum up the role she played in getting the win.
Well, first of all, when KT was coming to New York, I was like, this is great. I don't have to go against her because if you've been guarded by KT, it's like physical. She's like in you, like all the things. And she had some huge rebounds for us. She knew exactly where she should be. Perfect spacing, perfect cutting, continuing to kind of make those plays that, she's just working hard. She's blue collar, nonstop, doing the little things that, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but everyone knows the impact that she had. And that's what we need every single night because she's going to be huge for us as we get going.
And Courtney, for you, can you take me how you prepared yourself, maybe mentally during halftime, to be able to come out there and push back?
Well, I think that's shows growth as us as a team as being able to make an adjustment at halftime. We weren't playing to the best of our ability, and it felt kind of familiar. Our spacing and just our inability to score felt very familiar to game one. And the difference was that we came out and made adjustments and moved the ball a little bit better. Me personally, I just decided to be downhill and be aggressive, and I think that opens up things for other players and gets us moving. So that's kind of what it was. It was a different mentality, knowing that was a 40-minute game, of course, and we want to play 40 minutes, but the game isn't over at halftime. We were able to make adjustments and hold them to 13 points in the third quarter, 14 in the fourth. That's tough.
Hello. First of all, congratulations on the win. Coach, my first question is for you. What can you say about the way Benijah Laney was kind of throwing herself around the floor in the second half? She was diving after loose balls, going after rebounds. Obviously, the scoring isn't where you want it to be just yet when it comes to Benijah, but what can you say about the way she was tossing her body around in the second half?
Well, this is it at halftime. Just challenging. We had to play harder, and be. She that's what in the off season I told her that's what I wanted to do. She has to be a defensive anchor. She has to guard that best player and be aggressive. So, and that shows that kind of gives you energy when your teammate, you see them competing so hard. It kind of like you can feed off it. So, I complimented her after the game too. I thought she brought the energy in that second half that allowed us to come out and really just put the stops on them. And we didn't have any. We talk about having kills, which is 3 consecutive stops. We didn't have any in the first half. You know, I can't remember what we have now, but we got a lot in the second half, and that's just effort, obviously execution. We played a little bit more aggressive, and it started with B, and that's part of her role.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And for the players, over the first 12:34 game time, you guys lose 6 turnovers, which made up the difference as Connecticut got 10 points off that. But you guys cleaned it up afterward. So from the players' perspective, what was the biggest adjustment from first to second, especially considering you guys went off on the stat sheet over the latter 20?
I think just settling in. I think that, Sloot touched on it a little bit, but our spacing, just the way that we were wanting something to happen so badly that we didn't have the patience to kind of wait for the second side. And once we made reversals and things like that and got them in rotations that they were getting us in rotations in the first half, when we were able to do that in the second half, that was a lot better.
You want to answer, Court?
No, it's all you, Doug.
For both of you, just talk about the defense. I mean, everyone knew this team coming in could be really good on the offensive end, but I mean, you've been putting together some pretty good defensive quarters. The third quarter seemed both of you were getting steals that led to easy points. And how big is the defense going to be for this team moving forward for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's going to be huge because we're really good in transition. And so if we're getting stops, I think we're going to be really tough to beat. And you could see the difference between the first quarter and then the next 3 quarters is when we kept them 15, 14, or 13 and 14. And, we're scoring. And so that's what we got to do. We got to commit to the defensive end. We're so long, and, we can throw different coverages at people. That we just got to stay disciplined in that, not foul, and then we're off to the races.
Okay, a question for Coach first. Just talk about, for this team, the starting lineup gets a lot of attention, but the bench had a lot of impact today. How important is it that they're able to get in the game and make an impact like tonight?
Oh, very important. JJ got in some trouble there. She's still coming back, and we have to rely on our bench. And I thought Steph Dolson, all of the ones I played, Kayla and Nyara came in and gave us really solid minutes and, allowed us Stewie played 33 minutes. That's probably good. She's probably not used to that. But it's good that we can, you can trust your bench, and I think that's going to be critical for us. We got June. I think we have 11 games, so we're going to need that.
All right, and then for Stewart and Stewie, Coach, you actually mentioned last week that, offensive chemistry is a little bit harder to develop. I noticed that as a team you had a lot of backdoor cuts. So how was that able to, build your team chemistry a little bit on offense?
I think just making reads. If someone is overplaying us, making that correct read to kind of back cut, whether you get the ball or not, because it's going to move your defender. And sometimes you have to figure out, time and place. When is a back cut to the basket? When is it just sacrificial to get someone else open? And we're figuring that out. I think these practices this week have been really important, and we just need to continue to build on that.
I think it's so important that we have passing post players too. Sui had 5 assists, Steph had 4. So when we get the ball and they're in that kind of position and our guards are able to make cuts and they're able to deliver, it's really hard. It puts a lot of pressure on defense. So, that's something we'll look forward to playing through our post players in the passing in the high post and mid post.
Thanks. I'll just go down the line. Stewie, in the first half, Connecticut held you guys to just 1 of 5 from deep, but then you come out in the second half, and 4 of the first 5 attempts, aside from a breakaway layup, are 3-pointers. As a team, you finished 9 of 22. How much of an emphasis was that in the halftime just conversation?
Yeah, I think Sandy definitely touched on it at halftime, the fact that we shot 6 threes in the first half. We're a team that we know we're capable in shooting, and we don't want to force them, but if we can get out in transition, that's when the floor is going to be spaced the best, and the defense is going to run back to the rim, because that's what you have to do. And we're able to continue to find those players, but just the way that we came out defensively created a lot of offense for us.
Thank you. And Sandy, I wanted to follow up on what Pepper was asking about the reserves. They come in and really, at a time where the starting unit is still kind of finding themselves getting comfortable, 5 layups in the early second quarter from Kayla, from Steph, from Nyara. Just how much of a lift were they this afternoon?
Oh, big time. And that's what we needed them. Sometimes, even their great players going to have a not so great game. And we can't hold them down for 40 minutes, but that's why we have a team. It's not about individuals. It's about us, not I. And we make sure that they know that they're very important for our overall success, and they, everyone's buying in. They just want to win and do whatever they can to help. But, our bench is going to be important for us as we move forward. And we still have Maureen Johannes coming back next week, so we're excited just to add her in as well.
Thank you. And Courtney, last game, Stewie came out and had 45. Today, she didn't replicate that, but she was all over the stat sheet. 6 steals, 4 blocks, a bunch of deflections. You talk so much about getting out and running in transition. Just how does that open up your game, knowing that Stewie is going to be knocking the ball in your direction a bunch of times?
Yeah, she was all over. I'm just admiring this stat line that she has here, plus a black eye.
Don't look at my free throw.
Yeah, she's pointing out 4 from 7. Even I'm like going, Stewie missed him free throw?
She's not perfect.
Yes,
Pretty close. It's. I've played against it a lot, and she's super long, and it makes it difficult. Some lanes that look open are not when Stewie's on the floor, and that's something that's going to get us into transition, like I said earlier, and it's difficult. So yeah, I mean that's definitely an advantage for us to have long, active post players.
For both of the players, how much more comfortable do you feel now that you guys are 3 games in, I guess a week into the regular season, just getting that live game action to see how all the pieces fit together? I know, obviously, adding Stewart and JJ back to you coming off of injuries, how important has it been just to kind of get out there and see how everything looks?
Yeah, especially after this week of practice, we really wanted to focus on getting our chemistry and like offensively and defensively. So it was nice to see it in live action. Obviously, we know that we have a lot more to work on, and every game is going to be different. Every team is going to guard us different. And so there's more to learn, but it was nice to see that we could put it kind of together, at least for a half, and beat a really good Connecticut team.
Coach, question. Is it more difficult preparing for an emotional game? This would have been JJ's first time playing against her old team, and I find it very interesting that the next 2 teams play, Seattle and Chicago. So is it difficult preparing for an emotional game where you have a player playing their old team? And then I'd like for Stewie to answer that, since we're going to Seattle next, and then for Sloot to answer that because we're going to Chicago after Seattle.
I think they'll answer that probably better than me. I understand what it's like. I mean, I came from Phoenix too last year, and there is that emotional, but I just try and take it out as much as we can, but acknowledge it, that, she is our sister and teammate now, and we want to support them and in the best way we can by playing really good basketball. They're at New York Liberty now, so I just kind of focus on what, stay in the moment. But I'm sure it's not that easy. So, we have to get ready to go back to Seattle. I'm sure it's going to be really emotional for Stewie, and then Chicago, because they had such long and successful careers there. But I just embrace the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bittersweet feeling, and I can't lie and say that I'm not thinking about it at all. Of course, it's in the back of my mind, and wanting to go there and just be appreciative of everything that I had, and appreciate those moments and those relationships and things like that. And I don't know, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's an indifferent feeling, but as people change positions and job positions, you go to different places. You never forget where you came from and the places that you spent the most time. So I think just grateful and gonna be emotional, but good emotional, I guess.
Yeah, I think Stewie hit it right on the head. I mean, I started my career. We both started our career there, so we have such amazing memories, and both won championships, and so it's a really good feeling. Obviously, we're in a different spot now, and we're happy with where we are. Of course, I'm just glad I'm doing it third, so I'll just kind of rely on their support, and see how they handle it, and then I'll handle it that way.
I'll just be the guinea pig.